Hello, guys. Welcome back to another exciting episode on the show, Control or Be Controlled, a podcast designed to help you start thinking differently and take control of your life. And I remain your host, Darlington. Today's guest is Karen Yankovich. Karen, I hope I got your name correctly.
You did. Happy to be here, Darlington. Thank you for having me.
All right. So Karen is known as the LinkedIn go-to, host of the Good Girls Get Rich podcast, and quoted in Huffington Post, Social Media Today, and other publications. She talks with authority about the importance of women creating a magnetic and profitable LinkedIn strategy. What makes Karen different from all the other experts is that she helps women step away from all the noise and gets right to the point, using LinkedIn for up-leveled business relationships. Karen, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, Karen. So I would also like you to introduce yourself to my audience.
Yeah, so my name is Karen Yankovich. I am a marketing consultant focusing on LinkedIn and PR strategies, mainly for visibility. I believe that the strategies that I believe I know that the strategies that I focus on and I help my community with are strategies that we've used in marketing and sales for, years, decades. It's who you know, right? It's building relationships with the people that um, can help facilitate you signing the biggest contracts for the biggest opportunities of your life, right? And that's really where I think LinkedIn shines, and the PR piece of it is so that you are building credibility um, and a brand that makes people interested in what you do, so that you can take control of your destiny, right? Make some actual money, and it doesn't mean that if you're selling pens, sell pens, right? But we're not on LinkedIn to sell pens. We're on LinkedIn to find a distributor that wants 10,000 of your pens, right? So that's the focus. That's the angle that I am. What are the big opportunities? And let's build a strategy around landing those opportunities first, and then build our business from there.
Okay, Karen, you are a believer that LinkedIn is the most powerful tool for building real wealth today. Personally, for me, Karen, I've found it very difficult to navigate LinkedIn. I have a profile there for like some years now, but I just log in. Most times I try to get serious, and most times I find it difficult to navigate my way. And I believe with this episode, some things are going to change. So why do you believe LinkedIn, not Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok? Why LinkedIn?
Well, first of all, LinkedIn is designed to be virtual networking, right? So if we focus on how do we build relationships with the kinds of people that can help us take our businesses to the next level, LinkedIn is that place, right? When we're on, if you get introduced to me on TikTok or on Instagram or on Facebook, you're going to see what I put out there, right? But if you get introduced to me on LinkedIn, you're going to see what I put out there, but also you're going to get to see my profile, what I want to share about the kinds of things that I help people with, and what is important about the work that I've done in the past. Also, you'll get to see a little bit about my network, the kinds of people I'm connected to, all things you can't do on those other platforms. So it's really so the other platforms, which I have a podcast as well, and I use those other platforms to promote my show. Um, but when I need to build relationships, or when I'm looking to build relationships because I want to land a big, fat, juicy client, I'm on LinkedIn, right? The other platforms help build the credibility that I need and the visibility, but LinkedIn is where I connect with people, right? Like even if it's as simple as podcast guesting, right? You've got a podcast. If somebody's listening to this show right now, and thinks and is interested in what we're saying, connect with me, connect with Darlington on LinkedIn, and tell us what you thought about it. And maybe you'll have an idea for a topic on my show. Maybe you'll have an idea for a topic on Darlington's show, right? These are the kinds of conversations that happen on LinkedIn that don't happen in other places. It's where we connect human to human as opposed to algorithm to algorithm.
Okay, Karen, yes, there are some conversations you cannot have anywhere but LinkedIn. But why am I not getting visibility on LinkedIn? Not just me. A lot of people complain they don't have visibility. A lot of
Yeah.
entrepreneurs.
So here's the thing. I don't really worry about that. I don't really worry about how many people see my post. I worry about how many conversations I'm having that are going to lead me to my next contract. LinkedIn isn't the place to go to. I mean, you could go viral on LinkedIn. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. And, is it better to have 1,000 people see your post than 100 people see your post? Sure. But if I'm going to get my next 5-figure contract from one of those 20 people that saw my post, I don't care how many people see my posts. I use LinkedIn as a place to build relationships. The content adds to my brand. When people come and check if they're listening to this and they say, oh, let me learn a little bit more about Karen, and they go to my LinkedIn, they'll see my content on LinkedIn, and that helps them understand my point of view and the kinds of things I talk about. But I don't worry too much about people, like how many people see it. I just worry about are the right people seeing it.
So you are saying we should not be worried about visibility, but rather we should be worried about building conversation.
Right. The main number that I track on LinkedIn is how many conversations am I having? And are they with the kinds of people that can lead me to my next big opportunity? I use content, obviously, to help support my brand and to help reach people. Mainly, though, it's even conversations I jump into with other people's contents that are valuable. To me, the most important strategy on LinkedIn is the conversations that you can have.
All right. So how can without visibility, how then can we build wealth on LinkedIn?
I mean, visibility is important. I do believe visibility is important. I just don't think the numbers are as important. I think visibility with the right people is more important than visibility in an algorithm standpoint. For example, one of the things that I focus on with my community is borrowing other people's stages, like this, for example. So if I'm on LinkedIn, I can try to reach all of the people listening to this show, or I can try to reach Darlington, who can put me on the show, which then reaches Darlington's audience. Right. So for me on LinkedIn, I rather focus on reaching the people that already have an audience and having conversations with them and building relationships with them so that I can get in front of their audiences. Right. And that's how I build my email list. And that's how I build my communities, by building relationships with influencers that I can then get in front of their audiences. Right. Same extends to journalists. Same extends to, the people that, write articles, right? I guess that's the same as journalists, right? So to me, so visibility is important. I just think that when we look at visibility and say, I posted and only 15 people saw my post, that's the wrong, and not the wrong, but that's not the kind of visibility I look for. I look for how many conversations am I having with people that can put me in front of their audience so that I can get more visibility. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. That
Right.
makes sense. So, when should an expert stop chasing clients and start positioning themselves as a leader?
I think we should be. I think we can get sales immediately as long as we have the experience and the expertise. I don't think it matters, where you are or what you're doing. I think if you've got experience that you're bringing to the table, LinkedIn is the place. You don't even need a website, right? As long as you can create a PDF that talks about your service, you can build relationships on LinkedIn and start to make some sales through that. I mean, LinkedIn also has some built-in sales mechanisms. You can create a services section. You can create a link on your profile. Like if you look at my LinkedIn profile, you see right underneath my header image, it says, book some time to chat with Karen. And that's a very inexpensive, short paid service, but it could be something more, right? So I think of all the platforms, LinkedIn is the fastest path to making sales, right? Because we're doing it on building relationships. Like it's not what you know, it's who you know. So we're creating the who you know so that we can quickly make some sales.
All right. Thank you so much. Karen. So, my next question for you is this. What separates people who become recognized experts from those who remain hidden?
I think that I think we have to lean into it. I think if we believe that we have a topic that is important, that we're an expert in, I think it is I think we need to be sharing that. For example, I was talking to one of my clients yesterday, and she has a new certification. So she was saying, "Well, How do I start sharing this?" And I said, "I'd be doing some videos. Start doing some videos and share them on LinkedIn. Start talking about the little specific things that this new certification allows you to do that maybe you weren't able to do before or other people aren't able to do, right? So creating some content around that, and then also leaning into that in your LinkedIn profile, having an about section that positions you as if you're peers with the most influential people in your industry. We tend, especially women, we tend to not claim our expertise loud enough, and I think we need to be louder with it so that we can help more people. So I think that you are, I mean, there's nothing, I don't think there's a ceiling, right? It's not going to be wait until you're at this and then you can do it. I think there's levels of expertise. And as we build our expertise, we should be sharing at whatever level we're at all the time. And that's how we start to, because you're not looking like, no, we don't need to be somebody I heard it described one time as you might feel like you're a 10-year-old, right? And there's the 16-year-olds or the 25-year-olds or the experts, but a 10-year-old is a big deal to a 5-year-old, right? So even if you're feeling like you're new to what you're doing, if you can bring something to the table for people that are newer than you, then you're an expert, right? As long as you know what your limit is and you continue to build on that.
Okay, so know what your limit is and continuing to build on that. Thank you so much. So, what would you say to someone who still feels the need to prove their value despite their success?
You know what? Let other people help you. It's hard to shine a light on your own expertise, right? Like come to people like you or people like me that can help them, can look at it and say, you know what, you can do better than this, right? So it is not easy to write your own LinkedIn profile, frankly, because it's hard because people feel like they're bragging, right? But you're not bragging it. These are things you did and you're owning the successes and the experiences that you've had. So if you're feeling like you're not ready, you are ready. You're never going to be ready, right? You're never going to be ready. So do it anyway and let people help, like join communities of people that are outside maybe your friends and family that don't really understand what you're doing, that are in the same situation as you, so that you can support each other and lift each other up so that you can more quickly get to your goals. I believe that is how we take control of our destiny, is when we have more control of our destinies as entrepreneurs, I think, even than employees do, because we can build relationships and create businesses as we need to. But we have to own it. We have to be comfortable talking about our expertise. And if we're not, we need help.
Okay, thank you, Karen. So, why do so many talented people struggle to become visible? I know you said we shouldn't focus on visibility, but why do so many talented people, especially women?
Well, because sometimes we're not comfortable with that, right? Like maybe you're a great, I don't know, financial planner, but turning your camera on, it makes you nervous, right? It doesn't mean you're not a great financial planner. That you know how to help people with their money. You don't know how to create a marketing campaign, maybe, or create that visibility, and maybe you feel uncomfortable. And often when I hear people say that they're uncomfortable with visibility, they're not really worried about the people that can pay them, right? They're more worried about the people that know them, their friends, their families, their colleagues, their coworkers, right? Like, what are they going to say if they see me saying this about myself? So I think you just need to get over yourself. If you don't, you're not going to be able to succeed. If the world we live in right now, we don't buy a paperclip without throwing it into a search bar to find out reviews on it. So if you're not creating some kind of a visibility campaign for yourself, if you're not creating expertise on LinkedIn, if you're not creating like a PR campaign for yourself, they're going to hire somebody else, somebody that they can find. And maybe it's somebody less qualified than you.
Okay, thank you so much. So, you're saying most of the reason why we are we are talented but still struggle is because of our own personal our behavior, personal like our personality.
I think so. I think we get in our own way more than the obstacles that are we believe are in our way. We put there.
Okay, so how can entrepreneurs use their personal brand to attract better opportunities?
I'm going to go right back to having more conversations, right? Have more conversations. Find the people that are doing the kinds of things you want to be doing and start to meet them, start to build relationships with them, start to reach out to them, even if it feels uncomfortable. Um, it's networking, right? You've got to meet the kinds of people that can help you land the biggest opportunities. And, Darlington, if I ask 100 people, the biggest opportunity you've ever had, where did it come from? 99 of them are going to say a referral. They're going to say, well, my friend knew somebody that hooked me up with blah, blah, blah. They're not going to say they saw my Instagram post, right? Now, sometimes that happens, right? Like I know that. That's why we're on Instagram and TikTok and all those other platforms. But generally, the biggest opportunities come from the conversations we're having. So have more conversations.
Okay, thank you so much. Have more conversations. Have more conversations. So, what is the first step someone can take to increase their authority online? There are some cases where you try to have conversation, you try to reach out first, and you don't get any reply. On LinkedIn as well. Myself, I have tried to do that. So, how can I be able to get more replies so that I can have more conversation?
Yeah. So here's the thing. Not everybody's on LinkedIn. So I would be focusing on the people that are on LinkedIn, right? So you can, if somebody says to me, I reached out to 10 people and only one got back to me, I want to see those 10 people and I want to see the last time the other 9 people were even on LinkedIn, right? Not everybody's on LinkedIn, but there's plenty of people that are. So focus on the people that are on LinkedIn. If you have LinkedIn's premium service, which you don't need, but if you happen to have it, you actually have the ability to narrow your searches down by that. Give me now take this 100 people and narrow it down by the people that have posted on LinkedIn in the last 30 days. Now, at least, you're working with a group of people that are going to see your message. Right. In fact, I was talking to somebody that is in my community the other day, and we have this challenge that we have in our visibility salon, make 10K in 30 days. And when she initially went through it, she wasn't really focusing on that. So she's like, I was messaging people and they weren't getting back to me. So I was getting frustrated. I said, so now it's 5 months later. Have those people got back to you? And she said, yeah, they have. I said, so it wasn't that they weren't interested in what you did. It's just that they didn't happen to be on LinkedIn in the week that you wanted to hear from them. That, you know what I mean? So I think that if you're not hearing back from people, either one, you're not paying attention to these people. Are these people even dead or alive? Never mind, are they on LinkedIn? And number two, are they the right people? And, if you're, I have another client that's looking to partner with a corporation. And we went into the corporation's company page and we went to look at the people in the corporation. And we looked at the titles of the people that she wanted to connect with. But then once we found some of the titles, we then looked at those profiles and said, okay, which of these people actually posts on LinkedIn? And those are the people she reached out to first, because we don't even know if the other people are ever going to see her message. So it isn't that LinkedIn doesn't work and people aren't responding to you. More often, it's that you're not taking the time to filter through the people you're doing the outreach to make sure that they are actually engaged on LinkedIn and see your message. Now, if you are doing that and nobody's responding to you, then we have to look at your messaging and we have to look at your profile and we have to make sure that you've done enough of a job, a good enough job creating influence for yourself, which you can do. Everybody can do, right? No matter where you are in your journey, you can create a profile that positions you as influential. It's just but I think generally the reason when people come to me and say, I'm not hearing back from anybody, it's generally because they're not paying attention to the fact that are these people even active on LinkedIn, right? Like if you're let's use a podcast, for example. If you want to pitch yourself to be on, 10 podcasts before the end of, before in the next 6 months, and you're going to use LinkedIn to do that, I would look for 10 podcast hosts that I know are active on LinkedIn, right? If you pitch 10 podcasts that 9 of those podcast hosts have been completely absent from LinkedIn, you're not going to have a conversation. How can you have a conversation with them if they're not there, right? But there's plenty that are there. So stop worrying about who's not responding and start focusing on the people that are there and are active on LinkedIn, because those are the people that will respond to you.
All right, thank you so much. So we should focus on those who are active on LinkedIn so that we can get a better reply. So, okay, so you talk about focusing on those who are. So in the case whereby you talk about building your profile. So how do we actually optimize our profiles to have more authority, so that when we reach out to those who are active on LinkedIn, they will want to reach out to us back?
Yep. Well, that's one of the reasons why I like the publicity piece in the strategy. Because if you are, like, for example, if somebody's never heard of me before today and they're listening to this episode and they now heard of me because you invited me here, I get to borrow your credibility, right? So if I met the same person on the street and I said, oh, I'm a LinkedIn and PR marketing consultant, I have absolutely no credibility with them. But I have credibility to somebody that's listening to me now because you invited me here, right? So that's why I think and having a PR strategy as you're building your personal brand is valuable to you. But at the same time, when you think about your profile, you have to remember that people don't really care about you. They care about what you can do for them. So when you're writing your profile, you have to look at it from that perspective. Nobody's on LinkedIn searching for a CEO, right? But they might be searching for somebody that, a financial planner that helps men over 50 create enough wealth to retire at 60, right? So you're still telling them you're a financial planner, but you're making it more about them than you are about you. So when you write your profile, you want to kind of think of it almost like a sales page rather than a resume. Your resume is all about who you used to be. This is not what your LinkedIn profile is. Your LinkedIn profile should be positioning you for the opportunities that you're creating in the future. And that's why you have to look at it similarly the way you look at creating your website. Is this going to hook somebody? And you want to be true. You want to be authentic and accurate 100%, but you want to do it in a way that you'll come up in more searches, for example, right? Using keywords that people are searching for on LinkedIn, things like that. So there's a lot of profile strategy tips. I've got a ton on my podcast that they can check out for free. But for the most part, generally, you just want to make sure that you're looking at it from the perspective of, is anybody going to care about this, right? Because they don't really care if you know QuickBooks, but they might care if you can save them $100,000 a year with your accounting skills.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much, Karen. So, Karen, is there something you would like to share with my audience that I have not asked you?
Yeah, well, I would say, if you're struggling a little bit with creating your profile, we actually have a free assessment. If you go to KarenYankovich.com/quiz, there's an assessment there that helps you with your marketing style and helps you create a LinkedIn strategy that feels more comfortable to you. If you're feeling uncomfortable on LinkedIn, it might just be that you're trying to do things in a way that work for some people, but are just not going to work for you. So that's a great way to get started. But connect with me on LinkedIn. Check out my podcast. I've got tons of free resources everywhere, and I'd love to share them with your audience.
All right, thank you so much. I was going to ask you how they can connect with you, but I'm sure we have laid that out already, right?
Yeah, I say connect with me on LinkedIn and tell me this is where you heard me. In fact, even better, share this episode on LinkedIn. Share a link to this episode on LinkedIn and tag me and tag Darlington and let us know what you thought about it.
Thank you so much. This has been a very wonderful episode. I really hope I can start, not just me and those who are listening right now. I can start optimizing my LinkedIn so better, and I believe
Perfect.
there are people who told me that they no longer they are no longer part of other socials. They are so focused on LinkedIn, and I say, LinkedIn is so boring to me. I can't even leave other social media and be on LinkedIn. So I want to be able
You
to.
know what's not boring, Darlington? You know what's not boring? Money in your bank. And the money in your bank as an entrepreneur comes from LinkedIn. So if you have to be a little bored every day to hang out on LinkedIn, to meet the people you need to meet, be a little bored because having a lot of money in your bank is not boring.